What's up, ego hackers? Welcome to the C.S. Joseph podcast. I'm your host, C.S. Joseph. Today's question, as submitted by an Acolyte member, which is the top tier behind our paywall. Today's question is, how can I, as a man, prepare for the coming chaos or the coming catastrophe? Very good question. Although I would like to keep these questions more related to the psychology, but we definitely could talk about manhood as well. I'm actually going to be opening up a separate YouTube channel in the very near future and going to be moving any of my man-related or red pill-related content over there, basically. And I'll be doing some episodes for that channel every now and then. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. And although, like, if acolytes, if you're going to be asking questions related to that, we could probably, we'll probably end up having to release them over there. So just giving you guys a heads up, we'll be in contact with you if those questions come in and you're wondering, like, oh my God, where did my question go? So yeah, if you want to become an Acolyte member and get the answers to your questions turned into podcast and YouTube episodes, you can do that. csjoseph.life/members. Become a journeyman member. If you already are, and then upgrade to Acolyte from there. If you already are a journeyman member, go to csjoseph.life/portal, and then go to the Acolyte sales page from there, and then upgrade your account to Acolyte, which would bring your total monthly contribution to $100 a month. And you get access to, like, basically everything, except the Discover All package, and our individually sold courses, but you get all of everything else, years and years of content on top of those benefits. So apparently the Type of Famous People live stream has been pretty popular recently, so thinking about maybe doing a second stream. So we'll see how that goes. It's like super mega popular, so we'll keep doing that, I think. But depends on what we have available to us for our schedule. So anyway, so what can I do as a man to prepare for the coming catastrophe? So, I don't know. How old are you? That's like the first question I'd ask. Like, do you have a job? You know, are you producing more than you consume? I mean, your first objective needs to be producing more than you consume. That's your king energy. And by the way, like, if you haven't already, like, if you're a man and you're watching this or listening to this podcast or watching this channel, like, seriously, there are some things that you really should do, and that is you have got to read or watch seasons 4, 6, 13, and 31 on the YouTube channel or on the podcast. Get that information as soon as possible. Also, if you haven't watched the Catastrophe episode, just search the word Catastrophe here on the YouTube channel and watch that as well, as that explains a little bit more in detail as to what's going on. And also, please watch my criticisms of the red pill or anything related to red pill. Just search the word red pill on the channel as well, so that you can get educated there. Because I do have some criticisms of the red pill community, basically, and how they use the red pill praxeology, often to the detriment of themselves and potentially women out there, you know. But it ends up becoming, you know, a super big problem. Not like that guy who recently proved that it's actually women who is making society more polygamous. I find that utterly fascinating, like really fascinating. But he proved it. So thanks to whoever posted that in the Ego Hacker Discord. If you want to get on the Ego Hacker Discord, discord.gg/Ego Hackers. Get in there, check it out. It's a lot of fun. People discussing the science like 24/7. So, and some people in there are actually getting more and more capable at typing, which is pretty awesome. So definitely check it out. So yeah. So first things first, king energy. You need king energy. You need to be able to produce more than you consume. And then also, once you've built up your kingdom, you need to be able to defend your kingdom, and that's warrior energy. Then you need to help other men reach to your level. That's magician energy. And then you need to focus on enjoying life. That's lover energy. Most men do it backwards, where they start with lover and then like magician, helping other men become a lover, and then trying to figure out their warrior stuff. And only at the very, very end, they start producing more than they consume, which is often like the life track of ESTP men for some reason. oftentimes, or even SJ men in some cases, like STJs, they usually live life backwards, or at least, it is written, the first will be last and last will be first. And that's where that comes from. Very, very spicy cigar. I can barely keep it in my mouth. It's so spicy. Wow. It's like I'm smoking salsa. It's kind of weird. It's an El Suelo. El Suelo from Nicaragua, basically. I don't know if you guys can read that. Probably going to have to mirror the camera. So, yeah. Yeah, definitely going to have to mirror the camera. Notice that it's backwards. So, anyway. But how do I do it? Like, how do I get prepared for the coming catastrophe? I do a lot. I do a lot constantly. In fact, my entire schedule is based around my preparation for the coming catastrophe. Everything I do. Like, yeah, it's nice that I have multiple businesses. It's nice that I have this YouTube channel and this community. But it's not actually what I primarily spend my time on. What I primarily spend my time on is getting fit, getting stronger, being able to, deadlift high amounts of weight, to be able to, if I'm on the battlefield, to be able to pick up my friend and save his life, and maybe get like 2 miles out away from the combat zone if he went down, and I got to pick him up and I got to carry him, just to be able to do that. I also train in Krav Maga and get combat trained. I'm also very proficient at weapons. The only thing I need to finish on my weapon skills is being able to shoot very, very long distance. But medium to short distance, I'm very good. I'm very proficient at handguns. I'm very proficient at rifles, hunting rifles, not so much. I just need to learn scope training and how to deal with wind and being able to shoot at extremely long distances. But for the most part, I have everything else down. I mean, I know how to do a breach. I know how to clear a room. You need to learn how to do that, with a weapon. How to hold a weapon, like holding it close up to your body versus out far, and when to do that, etc. And what to do in a close quarters situation. But you need to be combat trained, straight up. You need to be combat trained. And if you don't know hand-to-hand combat, you need to get started. Really good hand-to-hand combat. Most people think I'm crazy when I say karate, but karate is actually effective. It is. Most people think I'm nuts when I say that, but it is. It is effective. Muay Thai is also effective as well. But and then Jeet Kune Do. In my opinion, Jeet Kune Do is probably, JKD is probably the most effective combat system out there, in terms that it's all encompassing. Like, you can't fail. Like, it's probably best all around. However, if you're like an NT type, if you're a really high NI user, or if you're an NP, I recommend you learn Krav Maga. Krav Maga is basically what they teach the Israeli Defense Forces. It is their battlefield combat system. It's also really helpful in a street fight, and it takes a lot of dedication and practice to learn it, like a huge amount of dedication. And you won't get it's 1 year of study. At least it was 1 year of study for me to just hit the first rank. It was pretty brutal, and it basically takes you 1 year to get through all of the ranks until you get up to about blue, and then everything after blue is just an insane amount of time and dedication you put into it, and plus you need to get into instructing as well. So, but just don't give up. But you have to be combat trained as a man. You also need to be survival trained. You need to be trained on what to do in an urban situation. Well, you need to be trained on what to do in a wildlife situation. If you're out in the wild, what to do. You need to learn how to trap. Everyone thinks that they can go hunting. No, you can't. No. Hunting is ineffective. Trapping is everything. You need to learn how to trap. If you're a man and you don't know how to trap, you're basically a loser. Sorry. You need to learn how to trap. Seriously. Go learn trapping. Go learn backpacking. Go learn backpacking plus trapping. Learn how to trap an animal, kill the animal, gut the animal, clean the animal, and then preserve the animal. Use everything you can from it, respect it, right? So basically buy every single book written by Tom Brown Jr. and do everything in that book. A man needs to learn Bushcraft. Joe Robinett on YouTube is an excellent resource for bushcraft. Understand bushcraft. So as part of your survival skill. Navy SEAL field guides and whatnot. What to do in various situations. Read all those. Like those field guides or field handbooks. They're all worth it. They're all great. You learn skills like how to get into a building if you can't go to the front door, how to get out of a building if you can't go out the front door, that kind of thing. It's really, really important. What to do when you're traveling abroad with hotels and changing your room at the last minute in case you're under surveillance, which is important for me as an entrepreneur so that none of my proprietary information gets stolen by people trying to listen in on my conversations, much less, recording my sexual activity and then attempting to blackmail me later because of that, that's also a risk. It's a huge risk. As your profile as a man increases, as your value as a man increases, so do the risks. Why? Because new levels bring new devils. You need to be aware of that risk as well. So yeah, combat training, survival training, very important. Also foreign language training. If you only speak one language, you're a loser. I am multilingual. I know Spanish. I am studying Russian and Japanese right now. I may stop doing Japanese and switch to a different language, but I am really enjoying Russian very much. And given that a very, very good portion of my own family speaks Russian and they're all native speakers, it's always nice to know when they're talking shit about me behind my back or even in front of my face and I have no idea. But being able to understand them and call them out on their bullshit is a really big deal. You as a man don't want to be caught with your pants down, not knowing, certain languages. Especially since, men have to realize that in order to optimize their sexual relationships with the absolute best possible women they could get, they have to get to a point where they're entrepreneurs. They make a lot of money. They're not tied down to a 9-to-5 job, which allows them to do this concept known as geomaxing. And if you as a man are not able to geomax, well, that's a problem. Because basically you're going to get stuck with low quality local women. And usually, trust me, in the United States of America, local women usually are of low quality. You should see, I go to the bars and I see all the floozies at the bars, and then I see the floozies at church on Sunday, and it's just laugh to myself because I see them going home with a different man every week, and yet they still somehow make it to church. It's just ridiculous. It's entirely ridiculous. You as a man, you have to deal with that bullshit constantly. There's nothing more painful when, your woman tells you to your face, it's yeah, so in order for me to even be intimate with you, I have to imagine that I'm with another man instead of you, basically. And I have experienced that before. It's an extremely painful thing, very painful memory that I will never forget. But it does happen. So it's just really important to protect yourself from that situation. Understand that, you need to make yourself, you need to have higher standards when it comes to women. Another thing, how you prepare yourself, stop masturbating. Seriously, that's dumb. Stop looking at porn. There's this guy, it's this ESTJ, forgot his name, but he hangs out with the Tate brothers, or did hang out with the Tate brothers since they're in jail right now. But he's every now and then, I look at pornography like a cigar or an ice cream or a fine drink that, I'll enjoy a porno every now and then, but it doesn't dominate my life. Yet there's people out there, INTPs, right? For example, who can't kick the habit. Even sometimes ENTPs can't kick the habit. I had a 4-year pornography addiction that started in my teen years, and it's funny. It actually started just after I prevented or stopped the sexual abuse in my life when I finally stood up for myself, and then but to cope with that lack of physical connection, I went deep into a 4-year-long pornography addiction. That, thank God, I was able to kick that habit and get out of it, but it did destroy my life, actually, for 4 years. It was absolute hell. I had to even go to a support group for that, a support group known as Celebrate Recovery, and go through their program to just kick the habit, and I did kick the habit. But, if you're masturbating all the time, or you're watching porn all the time, you're destroying your brain, you're destroying your hormones, which makes you less productive, which means you're not going to produce more than consume, which means you're not going to be successful at entrepreneurship, which means you're just not going to be successful as a man. Pornography is literally a cancer on your life. Stop looking at it. It's an absolute cancer on your life. Not only that, but why Why would you have that idol in your life that is also like exploiting women and potentially exploiting children, right? Why would you want to have anything to do with that? Why would you want to be a part of that? Like, stop. Be a man, don't do it. Like, you got to have enough self-discipline or enough willpower to actually get through that. You shouldn't do that. Especially you ESTP men out there. I mean, I was first introduced to pornography by my ESTP cousin. Like, he first introduced it to me. And it was a really really bad situation. I don't recommend it. Like, I mean, it destroyed his life too. Thankfully, he's in a much better place now, and I'm very happy for him, and I'm glad that he's free from that life. But it was rough, and he was like a total loser. He lived in a trailer. He had nothing, and that addiction just dominated and destroyed his life entirely. And I get it because of his need for intimacy, his need for connection, but it's fake. It's not even real. And it's so hard for him as an ESTP to even face himself and accept, and to accept himself unconditionally. And that's also what you as a man have to do in preparation for the coming catastrophe. You have to get to a point where you can accept yourself unconditionally. I finally have. It took me a while to do that. In the words of W. Anson in his book, The Manual, and by the way, like, men, you need to read the manual, especially pages 70 through 80, most specifically page 74 of that book. It's so important, where you learn how to accept yourself unconditionally, and he explains how to do it and why it's so important. You have to do that as a man. Why? Why though? Well, because I hate fatherlessness. And the best example of you as a man can do is be there always for your children. And like, when you have children, you need to be a high quality man. You need to be able to satisfy both sides of a woman's hypergamy, the alpha side and the beta side simultaneously. You just have to be able to do that and be that example to your children, so they understand what a healthy father looks like, so they understand what a healthy husband looks like, so they understand what a healthy man looks like. Okay, and you need to be healthy. Get the losers out of your life, cut away all the deadwood. Cutting all the deadwood comes from this book called Not a Life Coach. Make sure you read that seriously. Also, that author's other book, I think it's like not a diet book or something like that. But he has a fitness book. Read that book too. Like, seriously, you need to get away from just these bad things in your life. Society is like a drug. You need to get yourself to a point where you are entirely independent of society, and that no matter what happens to society, war or otherwise, the coming catastrophe or societal collapse, you and your family will be okay, because you as a man are capable enough to ensure that will happen. That's reality. How the hell are you going to do that if you don't speak other languages and can't flee your country? How the hell are you going to do that if you don't know how to bushcraft and survive out in the wild and still give your family heat and food and water? How are you going to be able to do that? If you don't know how to do that, you're a loser, basically. And then also, another thing that really, really helps, I got to give special thanks to Lev, because Lev gave me the Tinder guide for Kill Your Inner Loser. Do the Tinder guide at Kill Your Inner Loser, and not necessarily just to get with women, but seriously, the benefit of doing that guide, and it just really improves you as a man overall. Just that guide is worth doing just from the self-improvement, personal growth aspect, regardless of the fact that you could use it to get laid over and over and over again, which, I mean, I don't mind, go for it. But the reality of the situation is that at least you benefit big time as a man and become something so much better, something so much more as a man, so much more to offer your woman, so much more to offer your children. That's a big deal. Then your woman will know that you got options, so she's more likely to be more submissive in your home, and then actually be happy to see you when you come home and actually like greet you and treat you like a human being. That would be nice, right? You need that as a man, because it is written, it is not good for man to be alone. Therefore, I will make for him a helper who is suitable for him. And that's where Eve comes from, basically, from God the Creator's perspective, right? So make sure you do that as well. But yeah, in general, these are all the things that you as a man should be doing, and constantly educating, constantly building value all the time. You could play a video game every now and then. I probably play maybe 1 or 2 games a year. Like right now, I'm looking I'm looking forward to Jedi Survivor releasing in April. Like, I'm really, really looking forward to it. And it might be the only game that I play this entire year. Seriously. It might be the only game that I play. And don't get me wrong, I love other games, and I also use games to facilitate playing games with my children. But otherwise, it's like not my thing. It's not my main thing. I don't care about it. Games have destroyed my life and sucked my life away so much that it's inhibited my ability to be a husband or a father or a man. So, no thank you. That's just not what it's about, folks. So stay away from that crap too. And then eventually, you'll come to know your life purpose. You'll have a mission, and you will need to take that mission. My mission is to destroy fatherlessness and bring back masculinity, while exposing everyone's psyche to each other so that they understand each other, so they can respect each other, so they can love each other as much as they can respect and love themselves, as they should, based on what their archetype actually is. So anyway, folks, thanks for watching and listening, and I'll see you guys on the next episode.